When did the other woman become your best friend? The day my world completely fell apart. My boyfriend Elijah had been acting weird about his apartment for a while. We'd been together almost a year, but I'd only been to his place twice, and both times, his roommate Lauren just so happened to be out of town. He always had an excuse. She worked night shifts. She needed quiet during the day. She was recovering from a tough breakup with her ex-girlfriend. And I tried to be respectful about people's space, so I never pushed it. But something had started to feel off. That morning, my apartment flooded. The neighbor's water heater exploded, and I needed a place to stay. Elijah didn't pick up when I called, which wasn't too unusual since he had meetings scheduled. But a while back, he'd given me a spare key and told me to use it anytime. So, I figured this counted as an emergency. On my way over, I grabbed coffee and croissants from his favorite bakery, thinking I'd surprise him with breakfast. When I opened the door, I heard someone in the kitchen. I figured maybe Lauren had the day off, and I was finally going to meet the roommate I'd heard so much about. There was a woman standing at the counter making coffee. When she turned around, I was stunned. She was very pregnant. Like, 3rd trimester pregnant. She smiled warmly and started chatting, assuming I was from Elijah's office. She said something about dropping off work files and apologized for being a bit spacey, blaming pregnancy brain. Then she introduced herself, Lauren. I just stood there frozen, holding the bakery bag. I told her I'm Taylor, Elijah's girlfriend. The smile dropped from her face. She turned pale and had to steady herself against the counter. She asked me to repeat what I said, and when I did, she didn't say a word. Instead, she slowly walked into the living room and pointed to the mantel. That's our wedding photo, she said. I looked up, and there it was, Elijah in a black tux, arm around Lauren in a stunning white dress. I literally had to sit down. My whole body felt numb. Lauren sat across from me, both of us too shocked to speak. Then I started explaining. Elijah told me she was his lesbian roommate, going through a messy breakup. She laughed, but it was the kind of laugh that turns into crying, and told me he said I was a coworker who had a crush on him, that I always showed up with coffee and pastries, and he didn't have the heart to be mean to me. We started comparing timelines. Everything fell into place. His business trips were actually staycations at home with her. The reason I wasn't allowed over? Because she lived there as his wife, not his roommate. He even had 2 phones, one for each of us. When he said he was working late, he was with her. And when he told her he had client dinners, he was actually with me. Suddenly, Lauren clutched her stomach and started breathing hard. She said the stress wasn't good for the baby. I offered to take her to the hospital, but she said she just needed a moment to calm down. After a few deep breaths, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and told me this was their rainbow baby, their miracle baby after 2 miscarriages and 2 years of trying. That's why Elijah had been so hands-on lately. He was trying to protect this pregnancy. I wanted to hate her, but I couldn't. Her heart was breaking just like mine. We were both crying when we heard a key in the lock. Elijah walked in, holding takeout, and froze when he saw us. He tried to act casual, like he had no idea what was going on. Hey, Lauren, what's wrong? Who is this? His voice was shaking. Lauren didn't even flinch. Cut the act, Elijah. We know everything. He set the bags down, tried to come closer, but she held up her hand. Then he started scrambling, saying I meant nothing to him, that I was some girl from work who got the wrong idea. I stood up and told him to stop lying. I had photos, texts, and oh yeah, the key he gave me. He started looking between us, trying to figure out who to convince, then began slowly backing toward the door. He called me a stalker, told Lauren she was being hormonal. Without missing a beat, Lauren pulled out her phone and told him she was calling her mom to come pick her up. She said, you can explain to my mother why her pregnant daughter is leaving her husband today. That's when he really started to panic. But we weren't listening anymore. I left while Lauren was on the phone and Elijah was pleading in the background. That night, he called me 47 times. I didn't answer once. 2 weeks later, I got a text from Lauren. She wanted to meet for coffee. She told me she'd filed for divorce and thanked me for helping her see who he really was. She even said Elijah signed away his parental rights in exchange for her not going after him for emotional distress. Now, me and Lauren are still friends. And when her baby arrives, I'll be right there in the hospital waiting room, cheering her on.